leadeth me. O blessed thought, O words with heavenly comfort fraught. Whate'er I do, where'er I be, still 'tis God's hand that leadeth me. He leadeth me by His own hand. He leadeth me. His faithful follower I will be, for by His hand He leadeth me. Lord, I would clasp Thy hand in mine, nor ever murmur, nor repine. Content whatever lot I see, since 'tis Thy hand that leadeth me. He leadeth me by His own hand. He leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by His hand He leadeth me. And when my task on earth is done, when by Thy grace the victory's won, in death's cold wave I will not flee, since God through Jordan leadeth me. He leadeth me by His own hand. He leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by His hand He leadeth me. For by His hand He leadeth me.
Hey everybody, welcome to Vespers. We're so glad that you have joined us this evening as we take some time out to spend some time with each other and to get to know each other a little bit better. So as we begin tonight, we're going to light this candle, celebrating the presence of Christ who is in us, among us, and beyond us. And unfortunately, I didn't bring enough books tonight, so the candle... You'll just know the candle is here, even though it's right down here, I promise. So anyway, we're so glad that you've joined us, so that we have a chance to gather again. We have our prayer meeting that meets at 6:30 on Wednesdays now, so don't forget to join in with that if you haven't, on Zoom. So it's a great time for us to get together and to talk and to share our prayer requests with one another as well. So you can do that. Tonight we have the opportunity to talk with Jackson Campbell. Jackson has been at Central for a few years now. He comes from the thriving metropolis of Mount Sterling, so not too far away. But he's a student at Transy now. He's studying religion and just found out minoring in music. As though some folks have slowed down during the pandemic, Jackson hasn't slowed down at all. He's kept going, busy with school and with work, and even with a virtual internship this past summer. So I'm so glad that we had a chance to get to talk with Jackson, and tonight we've got an opportunity to get to hear how he's doing and what's been going on with him. So now let's go and talk with Jackson. Hey Jackson, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. It's wonderful to get to hang out. We don't get to talk like in the hallways anymore and hang out and see what's going on with each other. So it's exciting to get to talk with you again and get to see you. So how are things going for you? You're back at Transy now?
Yeah, things are different. Yeah. Most certainly for most of us, but I am at Transy on Zoom. I just recently moved into an apartment in Lexington on Red Mile Road. And I actually haven't been on campus at Transy but once because we are all on Zoom. So that's a really different experience too. Being used to the small classes and Transy experience, this is just a whole different ball game for us. So I'm trying to figure that out and trying to learn online, which is not the easiest thing to do. I'm also working at Kroger right now, pretty much full time because classes aren't taking as much time as they usually do. So I'm pretty busy.
Yeah, I know. We just had an hour to kind of get in touch today. So I think really appreciate you taking time out to spend with us and to let us know how you're doing so that we can check in with you. So you've got a lot going on. You've got classes and Zoom classes and all this. What's it been like? What's been like the most difficult changes for you in the midst of this?
The most difficult, I would say two different the fact that I can't socialize very much with friends and family, which I talk a lot when it comes to family and friends. We're constantly talking and socializing and hanging out and things like that, and especially in college that's a really big thing. And not being able to hang out with friends all the time is a really hard thing to deal with. So that's been the hardest thing. I think not just because I'm on a church call, but not being able to meet at church is a really hard thing too.
Yeah.
Not being able to see my back row family on Sunday mornings is really hard. So
yeah. Well, yeah, it is. It's hard not to have those connections, and even for somebody who's an introvert like me, I've found that over recent weeks just how important those connections are, and whenever we can't really see each other and be together, it makes it really
Absolutely.
difficult. Yeah. Well, you've had a lot going on this summer. Before we get into all that stuff, though, can you tell us a little bit about your background, what brought you to Central, and how you and to Transy, I guess, and all this. So how did you get to be at Central?
Well, I was born and raised in Kentucky, about east of here. I grew up in church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday evenings, Saturday, you name it, Thursday evenings. It was just probably the most important part of my life and my family's life. And that was a big part of what led me to Central. When I came out of the closet as gay in 2016, I was still in high school. I went to a Southern Baptist church, and they were not accepting of my sexuality and who I was as a person. So I had to deal with the consequences of that and not being able to fully participate in the life of the church, which is a hard thing to deal with when it's a place that, a faith community you've grown up with your entire life as your family and as your community. But I lived in Mount Sterling until I graduated high school. Came to Transy. Was going to be a political science major. Found myself kind of visiting churches and mostly the mega church type thing, because that's kind of what I grew up with. And I found myself questioning the things that I believed originally anyway, because having to come out of the closet, you kind of are forced to unlearn what you did believe. And had about 2 years of just discernment, I guess, or trying to unlearn those things that I had learned as a young evangelical kid. And so at Transy about my major, and I decided to be a religion major because I wanted to really dive deep into these questions that I had. But to get to how I found Central, I had really been searching for a place, and I went to Pride in, I guess it was the summer before my freshman year or something like that. And Central had a booth, and somebody handed me a pamphlet and invited me to come visit the church. And I kind of sat on that for a while and was like, well, maybe. Because it's hard to believe it, as a kid who was just hurt by the church, that there would be one out there that is affirming or welcoming of people like me. So I sat on that for a little while. I put a pin in it, and eventually I got on the website, and I was looking and seeing that it was a little bit more traditional. And so I called my mom one Saturday, I guess, and I was like, Mom, I want to visit this church in Lexington, but two things. They're traditional and they're Baptist. So I don't know, I need you to come with me because I'm scared.
Yeah.
I knew the Baptist part. I didn't know the traditional, and it was just for me. So I was like, Mom, you're going to have to come with me. So we did. It was in October of 2018 that I visited my first Sunday. I still have the bulletin from it.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that's probably, I can still remember the service very clearly. because it was like a dream come true. It was like, wow, this is real. Like somebody pinched me.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of how I found Central. To make a short story long.
No. Oh, well, that's wonderful. We're so grateful that you found us. We're so grateful that you're a part of our family of faith, and it's so wonderful. I in looking for a church that kind of fit where my theology was at. I never really thought that I would find one with Baptist in the name that fit with that. So I've been it's a beautiful and welcoming place, and we're so glad that you're part of the family. So that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your studies, about what you're doing at Transy. You're studying religion now, so what are your plans and goals for that?
Yeah, I went into it originally, I guess, wanting to deconstruct and unlearn some things, and it has become a passion for me to not as much look into the history of religion, but to understand how it affects us socially, or how it has and how it continues to affect us socially, in regards to all religion or religious traditions, not just ours. So I have heavily studied Islamic religious traditions, and that's something that I'm studying right now. And also the Judeo-Christian heritage and things like that. But I've really been in discernment right now, not right now, but a few months ago, I started kind of a discernment of whether I wanted to complete in an academic way, as like a professor or something like that, or if I wanted to use this academic viewpoint of religion, like interfaith viewpoint of religion, in a religious context. And I definitely do. And so I've really been thinking about how I can use this degree to my advantage in like divinity school, and I want to do chaplaincy. So I'm still thinking about it, but I'm still discerning that. But That's been really strong on my heart and mind lately.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Well, we have a few chaplains that at Central too. There are some great resources to be able to talk to and to find out more about it as well. That is wonderful. What a great way to use that in an understanding of other faiths, so that you can care for people no matter where they're at and what their faith journey is. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Tell us a little bit, since some of us have been privileged to be able to work from home and to be able to work on Zoom. So now you're also Zooming for school, but then working out, as an essential worker. So tell us a little bit about your job and about what it's been like working in the midst of pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I can vaguely remember when the pandemic was it wasn't, I guess it wasn't considered a pandemic yet, but it was starting to get a little serious and we weren't wearing masks yet. But I can remember the moment that the staff told us we had to wear masks at work, and we were like, are you serious? We're really gonna have to do this all day, every day, 8 hours a day? And we did it, and it was one of the hardest things to get used to. But I wear that mask now, and it's if I don't have it on, I feel naked.
Yeah.
Because we wear it all day. But people have asked me, because of the pandemic, are people more rude since I'm dealing with customer service? Are people more rude or hateful? And actually, I would say the opposite. I've seen more people paying it forward than I have ever seen. And I've worked retail for 4 years now, and I've never seen as much like paying it forward and people caring about other people as I've seen lately. Because I mean, just the other day, somebody paid for the person's groceries, in front of them because they realized they didn't have their WIC card, and just things like that are, you don't see that very much. And there's been an abundance of generosity lately.
Oh, well, that's wonderful to hear. That's amazing. So often we hear the opposite about people getting angry and yelling at folks and all that kind of stuff. But that's good to hear that there's some more love and grace happening as well right now. So, what if you're really staying busy? But is there anything that you've been able to do to kind of keep sane in the midst of this, even as you've been separated? Have there been things that you've been able to find that have been life-giving for you?
Yeah, I'm more of a homebody myself. I'm an internal thinker, and I can sit at home and just think about stuff all day long. So like I said, I'm in my apartment, I think in April. So kind of right in the beginning of when this was going on. So that kind of gave me, something to look forward to, something to enjoy, getting my apartment set up and decorated and things like that. I've also been on a weight loss journey, which is probably pretty noticeable. I went from 275 to now I'm 190 something. So
Yeah.
I've lost quite a bit of weight, and I thought of it as a lot of stress weight and a lot of baggage weight, because a lot of things have happened in my life in this period. So it kind of symbolically to me, it's letting go of a lot of baggage that I was dealing with.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a lot of hard work too, to do that. So that's a beautiful way to think about that, to make that kind of a holistic part of the experience of who you are as well. So that's awesome. Is there anything you've learned during this time of social distancing that you feel like is something that you'd like to carry forward? Maybe whatever this next normal looks like that we find ourselves in. Are there any lessons or anything that you feel have been important to you that you would like to continue?
A few things. I think we definitely, or at least I have come to understand that you kind of never know what you have until it's gone. And the realization that at any moment something could happen and society is going to have to react to it in a way that protects us. And COVID has been, the biggest thing in my life that society, as a whole, has had to react to, and give up a part of our way of living to deal with it. So I just think that's one of the lessons learned, is that you appreciate the things that you have while you have it, because it could easily be gone. Even that even goes for people that you love. And I forgot the other one.
It just makes me feel good because I'm always forgetting stuff. And it seems like everybody else is remembering it. So, well, can you tell us?
I'm terrible with that. I'll be 4 things, and then I'll say the first. I'm no.
And C, Well, what about your family? What about your mom? How's she doing with everything right now?
She's doing well. My mom owns a hair salon in Mount Sterling, which for a little while was completely closed because a lot of those businesses were shut down for a while. And that actually gave her an opportunity to start gardening, which is not something that she's ever done. But her mother passed away in last April, and she was a big gardener and things like that. And so my mom decided to jump onto that bandwagon, and we've been cooking and eating from the the vegetables and things that they've been growing. But because of that close, she found the opportunity to do some things and enjoy some hobbies that she has that she's never had time to do. So she's doing well. She's back to work, but they're not allowed to have that many people in there, so it's kind of difficult. But she's doing well.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's so many people find themselves in so many different places right now and as a society, it's so hard to think about how do we care for everyone, folks who need to work with other people. How do we care for them so that they can continue their work, and then how do we care for folks who are vulnerable, who need to be away from other folks? We really find ourselves in a difficult spot. It's Jackson, it's heartening to see a young person like yourself who's studying and looking for ways to be able to find hope and grace for all people, and to look at how religion can make a difference, and a positive difference in our society. How it's worked to its detriment, and how we need folks to study that. We need folks to look for those hopeful possibilities as well. So that's wonderful. So you're a bright spot. Thank you. And also, I didn't didn't ask you about your internship this summer. So can you tell us a little bit about that, and about what happened this summer and where you're working in Arkansas, right?
Yeah. To give a little context for anybody who doesn't know, I partnered with the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship in their program called Student.Church. And that was, I guess, after my freshman year of college. I worked at Mutual Park Baptist Church in Louisville. Interned there as the youth ministry intern, and was a wonderful experience. I just went to visit them last Sunday. They're family to me, just like Central is. I love those folks. I disagree with them on college basketball, but that's okay. So this summer I had the opportunity, and I applied before COVID, to work at Second Baptist Church in Little Rock. And when COVID happened, they called me and they were like, "Hey, do you still want to do this? Because it's going to be a little bit difficult to try to hammer this out." And I was like, if there's any time that I need to learn about congregational ministry, it's probably in one of the worst times to learn it, because I'll learn a lot more from it. So, because we were all in a learning experience, even the most seasoned of pastors. So I took the job, completely virtual. I met with their youth minister, who was my direct boss. I met with her here in Lexington. She's from Danville. I met with her once in the park, and that was the only time I ever saw her. So most of my work was doing like the technical stuff for their VBS. They had like videos and things like that I designed. And I also did like newsletters and Bible studies with the youth and things like that, which were really hard because keep people like paying attention on Zoom, especially young people who are used to being on their phones anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a really difficult thing. And the biggest thing I could take from it is the experience. I didn't bond with people really, sadly, it's hard to meet people and just become a part of a congregation in a few months on Zoom. I'm sad to say that it wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it certainly was a learning experience. And I already promised them I'm going to visit them in person, so that'll be a good thing to do, to actually meet the people that I was just being with, I guess, on Zoom.
Yeah. Well, those. I mean, my goodness, that's a brave step to take in the midst of this, to say, yes, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to jump out there and put yourself out there with people over Zoom, because it's hard to read the body language and the other cues from folks to really have a sense of where you stand with folks sometimes, if you haven't met them in person before. So that's great. So glad you got to do the work. So and I hope maybe you can get to meet them and have some more of the bonding and good vibes that you hope to have with those experiences too as well. So. Well, that's great. Well, is there anything else that's been going on with you during this time that you've that has been notable or interesting? You've got a lot going on.
Well, I just thought about the fact that I didn't say much about my project with the internship, so I guess I'll talk a little about that.
I forgot to ask you about that. Yeah.
So my final project before I left the internship was we read Universal Christ and A Walk in My Shoes, I think, or something like that. It was about compassion and things like that. And so my project was to do something with what I gathered from the books, whether I agreed or disagreed with what it said or not. And so I decided to gather information from each book, study, and to reframe hymns that I grew up hearing that I don't necessarily completely agree with in the way that we sing them or use them in a modern context. Because I truly believe, and I know for sure, that these hymns were they were kind of radical in their time, and they meant something. They were very deep and meaningful for the people that wrote them and the people that sang them, and they are to me, even though some things I don't agree with in them. So I took these hymns, left exactly as they were, and reframed them in a way that is kind of in a progressive lens, understanding that we can see these hymns and celebrate these hymns in a different way than we have, instead of just throwing them out, especially when they mean so much to people. So I did When We All Get to Heaven, Just a Closer Walk with Thee, and the other one's blanking on me, but anyway, there's a website, hymnsreframed.com, and I'll share that with everybody later. But
that's awesome. So this is your website where you've generated these new contexts for hymns?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is so cool. I did not know that. Well, that's beautiful.
I'll have to share that out later.
Yeah, that is so cool. So
I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah. So you left the words the same. You left the text the same, but then kind of reimagined the context for it, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is so awesome. So oftentimes we do change the words, and then it's hard to sing sometimes. I find myself singing the old words, even though I don't. That's not what I feel in my heart, about this. That is beautiful, Jackson. I didn't know you had done that. Okay, we'll have to all check that out, and so and utilize that. That's an awesome resource. That is great. So, wonderful. It has been such a joy to get to talk with you, Jackson, and so wonderful to get to see your face again and to get to hear you and talk with you.
Absolutely.
And so great to hear the things are going good for you right now. And thanks so much for taking time out to share with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, you stay safe out there. I know you got a busy day still, so and we will we'll hopefully get to see you in person soon.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks so much, Jackson, for taking time out to share with us. It truly was a blessing to get to talk with you and to get to see how you're doing. Thank you so much. So grateful that you are part of the Central family, and that we have you can share with us this wonderful website that I actually have gone to, and you can check it out too. It's hymnsreframed.com that Jackson made with some great new context to surround these hymns, and so wonderful stuff. And so go check that out too. So thank you so much, Jackson, for sharing with us tonight. What a blessing it was to get to be with you. And what a blessing it is to get to be with you all too. I think as Jackson was talking, again, I was thinking about how context matters so much. Recontextualizing the words that we sing sometimes can help us to see things in a new light. And being in the context of a gracious and loving family of faith also makes a difference in our lives. We see things differently, we act differently, we find new perspectives that we might not have thought about before, and together, as we're bound by the love of the Spirit of God, we find our way to beloved community. And so we have the opportunity to do that with each other, but also with others in our community as well. So thank you for the light and love that you create as you share your lives together with us in our family of faith. Before we go, let's sing a song together. Pass me not, O gentle Savior. Pass me not, O gentle Savior, hear my humble cry, while on others thou art calling. Do not pass me by. Savior, hear my humble cry, while on others thou art calling. Do not pass me by. Let me at thy throne of mercy find a sweet relief, kneeling there in deep contrition, help my unbelief. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry, while on others thou art calling. pass me by. Thank you all so much for being with us again tonight. We'll be back right here on our YouTube channel again on Sunday morning for our worship service as we continue our journey through Exodus. So we ask and invite you to come back and see us again then as we share together. You can find other groups that are meeting this week by going to lexcentral.com/Zoom. There are folks there that you can get in touch with, and you can join one of our Sunday school classes or a group that meets on another day. And don't forget, next week that prayer meeting will continue on Wednesdays at 6:30. That's also another Zoom meeting, and you can find the link for that at the top of our newsletter. That'll go out again tomorrow in our newsletter, along with some other opportunities for some virtual conferences that are happening with the Alliance of Baptists, with the AWAB, the Association of Welcoming and Affirming Baptists, and also CBF gatherings, all happening virtually this fall in the coming weeks. So you have the opportunity to look into some of those things and join in those as well too. So thank you again for being with us this evening, and we'll see you again on Sunday. Bye. Go in peace.